Hello, swivel heads. Times are getting hot. Things are getting testy. The whole world is seeming to start to boil. The nuclear tensions are going up and going up fast. Pardon me for being so late to get this on tonight, but maybe this will be one for the Breakfast Club. But we're going to go through some of these things real fast in terms of the nuclear threats that we're facing in the world today. And things are getting off the charts real fast, my friends. It just so happens that Russia has tested successfully, according to them, their Skyfall missile. It's been reported by American sources that tested it many times, maybe up to 13 times in the past, and never had a good flight before. And we called it the flying Chernobyl because it's nuclear. It has a nuclear engine in it. And one of their recent failures apparently caused a radiation incident that was somewhat insignificant. Actually, it was a pretty big one in the Arctic Ocean around the Barents Sea in that area. But guys, this is a testy time because Putin has actually come out with a new policy that sounds like that he's putting Russia's nukes on a hair trigger. And if we'd been on a hair trigger in the past, we would have had a nuclear war in the past because we've had so many close calls, so many close incidents. Well, the word he's come out with now, I think it's a little bit concerning, but just look at all the tension. I mean, when you're in a very tense time, your trigger finger gets a little itchier. You get more suspect of things that maybe you shouldn't be suspect of because we've had many close calls that patience, time, and level heads gave the opportunity to go, oh, they're not launching. This is not a real attack. Maybe that's being taken away. I hope that's not the case. But guys, just the words being said, and if you look in the context of what's going on, what's going down, both Russians have intercepted some of our flights flying near their areas. We've intercepted one of their flights. We've had many incidents going on. The Ukrainian war is really picking up. And Russia seems to be abandoning Sevastopol for that breakaway region of Georgia that they've taken possession of with their Georgian war, where they look like they're trying to put a new naval base there so their ships won't be at risk of the drones from Ukraine. Now, that actually could be have a good and a bad side. The bad side is it's going to be a hit on Georgia, and it also suggests that Russia may be concerned with losing their Sevastopol naval base in Crimea, which I've always thought would be a pretext for a nuclear war. Maybe this would take the nuclear war tensions off, or maybe it ratchets it up. But, look at what's just happened. We just had these major exercises from both sides. We've had the alert systems going off on the same day on both sides. Never has Russia done it nationwide before. Never have they had the drills like they had the day before nationwide. And on top of all that, we've had our doomsday planes in the air, multiple planes every day for several days this week, almost all week long. This is unprecedented as far as I know. And furthermore, we've had B-52s in the air too at the same time. Now, if you've watched Canadian Prepper, I know many of you do, he was actually reading some email from some of his contacts. One of them suggested some very provocative things that we might actually use nuclear missiles launched from something like a B-52 over our country to neutralize incoming ICBMs. And maybe that's why this stuff was flying. We've got missile defense at Fort Greely and Vandenberg Air Force Base, but those are only enough missiles to be able to take care of some country, maybe like North Korea. They could not handle a full onslaught of missiles from a country like China or Russia. All that being said, if they did take a response like that, the nukes were incoming, and they decided to stop them with other nukes by EMPing them, well, we're EMPing ourselves too. We're talking grid down. We're talking catastrophic consequences on the ground here, no matter what. And I've often said, and I've done several videos suggesting that an EMP in our country would be worse than a full-scale nuclear war. So, yeah, I don't know if that's any better. It's like burning the house down and get rid of the termites, because what we got to deal with in the aftermath of all that is our nuclear power plants. And I'm not worried about the reactors. You can scram those. You can do things with the reactors. I'm worried about the spent fuel rod pools. I've discussed that. I won't go into that today. We'll go back, watch some other videos. I may bring it up again in the future because I've got a lot of new subscribers, but I'd like you to go back at my videos from the past and look at those and try to figure it out from there, my friends. But guys, the tensions right now, and then there's what's going on in the South China Sea. We've all thought Taiwan was the main flashpoint, but it really looks like the Philippines is the main flashpoint right now with China. You got to remember, we don't have a treaty with Taiwan, but we do have a treaty with the Philippines. And in the Philippines, they've been trying to, they've got a ship that they basically planted on the Thomas Shoal in the Spratly Islands, which is an area that's supposed to belong to the Philippines. It's, if you go to the Law of the Sea Treaty, it is in that treaty, which was signed by China of all things, that there's certain areas that you have exclusive economic zones and everything else. And this has been traditionally for a long time in their exclusive economic zone. That level was something that's recognized before that treaty came out. China just decided all at once they were going to take this huge territory in the South China Sea, call it the non-dash line, and say this huge territory that includes the exclusive economic zones of many countries in that area. It's all ours. We're just claiming it all. This is a bigger invasion by China than what Russia has done in Ukraine. Furthermore, it is in an area which is far more economically significant than Ukraine. Yes, Ukraine's significant, but this surpasses it because a third of the world's trade goes through there. We're talking about Taiwan that makes critical chips for our semiconductors. They have the top end semiconductors, the best ones made in the world there, that nanometer scale chip. They've got technology there that nobody else is able to produce right now. It would wreck our economy. It would wreck the world economy if Taiwan got taken. It's also a chink in the first island chain that America's used to try to be able to keep China from taking all these islands. And Japan is also reacting by upping military bases in the area. So Japan's getting into this. Guys, we're coming toward a flashpoint. There's just too many incidents, too many things happening right now that could take us into nuclear war. We could slide into it all too easy. I'm going to share some articles with you. Let me get the chat room going. I don't know if I can anybody. This is the latest I've ever started a live session on this channel. I'll see how that's responding with you guys. I know I have international people that come in here, and I'll know that should help with some of our attendance for tonight. And this, like I said, this will be one for the coffee club, if nothing else, And we have 92 in the room. Not bad considering how late we've started here. So, very good. So this way, if I get a super chat, I think, hey, wait a minute, we got one already. Michelle Young, Israel under attack. Thank you, Michelle. That's true. That's another thing going on. This is they're having some shooting and things going on between Israel and I understand the Gazans and the Gazan Strip area, the Palestinians, excuse me, the Gazan Strip. So Gaza Strip's a sad place. It's like really a prison camp of sorts there. And it is a, let's see, 5,000 rockets so far have hit Israel. Yeah, there's tanks involved. Yeah, they do this every so often there. This has been going on. I got Scooby Snacks from down under. Good to see you here. This happens. It goes on. General Westmoreland said a lot. Okay. So, guys, this is a very tense situation. It's global. We've got North Korea sending munitions now on the way into, they're actually apparently starting to arrive already into Russia. And North Korea says they're going to send troops, 100,000 troops to help the Russians in Ukraine. So this makes it more of an international war. See, we're sliding more and more into a world war as more countries get involved. You get troops from other countries coming in from, basically almost halfway around the globe. Yeah, this is starting to evolve. And so, and here's the other thing. Putin has already basically said that they see, he's created I'm going to show you an article in a little bit where he's talking about they don't see this thing in Ukraine as a war with Ukraine. They see it as a war with the West. In fact, that's why they say they went into Ukraine in the first place. So in Russia's mind, they're fighting us. We look at this maybe as a proxy war with Russia. Well, they're looking at it so far as a proxy war with us, but maybe not a proxy war for long. They really have big ambitions, and they've admitted, they've said it. They've come out and said things that I've been saying all along. A lot of you guys say, oh, no, it's not about that. Well, Putin says it is. So you want to argue with him? You know, we got a Putin, Russia bros in here. I'm not taking sides, guys. I'm going to tell you one thing. Greg, do you see what's happening in Israel? Yes. I've seen the Israel stuff. I don't have a live feed. I'm to that right now. But but this has happened a lot in Israel. You know, every year it seems like the Israelis and the Gazans get into it. Well, Iran, if they wanted to fight Israel, they would provoke something like that and get Israel distracted on that flank before they took a hit at them. Or they might do something like that if they think Israel's about to hit on them. So Iran's got a lot of control with these groups in there, that area, you know, Hezbollah and other such groups. So civilians are being slaughtered. Yeah, it's really sad. It's a sad thing right now. What I'm saying is, yeah, that's a sad thing. But what I'm saying is the whole world's cooking. The whole world is starting to catch on fire. But Israel and Gaza have had some major shootouts almost annually, it seems like. Hey, Catherine, how you doing? So, guys, all right, I'm going to share some articles here. But you know, the Gazan-Israeli thing is sad. But there's fighting going on. There's about 29 different countries. Okay, that probably makes it 31 now that are actually at war at this very moment. And some of them are starting to gang up. You see what I'm saying, guys? I showed that to you a few nights ago. 29, I think I showed you that article. 29 countries. This is not this attack ground plus no food. Some people, death people. Stephen, you might want to retype that. I'm not sure what you said there. So thank you, Jason, for that. Oh, we got 137 in the room. Very good. So here we are, guys. I am going to share some articles with you. But guys, when you think about this, you know, why not bring you this stuff? Is, you know, one, you know, I hope that we can, you know, I brought David Pine on my channel. And David Pine's purpose was to talk about things we could do to try to get our side to back away from the war tensions, things that we could do to prevent this from going nuclear with both Russia and China, somewhat a recognition of their exclusive zones of influence, things like that. Now, you may or may not agree with them. And, you know, I don't say that I agree with everybody I bring on my channel. Either in either direction. I've had people from two different sides of this topic on my channel talking about the war in Ukraine. Just because I have somebody on my channel don't mean I endorse what they're saying or everything they're saying. And just like, you know, I don't have to endorse everybody in my chat room. I believe in freedom of speech. So, and I think that's good because you got to have a discussion. You can't have a discussion and air things out if you don't talk it out. And so I think these are important parts of the process. Some other channels want to highly control the content on their channel. Well, you know, that's up to them. And they have their own channels. They can run them as they so choose. But that's not my style. Now, I do ask that y'all keep it clean. And mods, if anybody gets in here using uncalled for adult language, stop it. Put a stop to it. And any bots come in here, eliminate the bots. We haven't seen bots in a long time in my channel. I guess the mods, you mods, hit them so hard so many times, maybe I'm not on some target list. They know we're not easy prey on this channel. We got mods that stop that in a hurry. So Israel has the most expensive homes in the world. Do they? I don't know, Steve. Maybe. I hadn't. That's something I haven't seen. Anyone have a link to the article regarding North Korea's possibly providing 100,000 troops? I've shown it in the past. I have shown it in the past. I don't think I brought that up today, but you can find it on the internet. Just search, Google it. You can find it yourself because that's what they've been talking about doing. Well, for North Korea's got a huge army. That's just a small fraction for them. It gets some of their troops trained and they can bring them back in to the Korean Peninsula, and then they'd have trained troops because North Korea's not had true direct combat since the Korean War that ended in the late 50s. And those guys are mostly, pushing daisies these days. There's a few of them, old guys that may remember that, but most of those guys are pushing daisies, at least the ones involved in it, because they've been 20 years old when that ended. So not a lot of people left from that era. And the other thing is now they have shelled islands and they have done little military action. So you can't say they got zero experience, but practically it's nothing. Thank you, Michelle, for saying that mods are awesome. I appreciate that. Triggered, isn't there a treaty with Israel saying that we would intervene in the event of war? We have been kind of back and forth on that. We do support Israel in general. We would support them if they got into a war with Iran. But I think there is, look, they've been fighting Gaza and they've been fighting, the groups there for some time. Gaza, they've been fighting the groups up in, Hezbollah up in Syria. Sometimes I get those mixed up. It's Hezbollah, and I'm getting brain locked now tonight. What's the other group's name that's in Gaza? I know it. Just, hey, Larry, it was dismissed from court as a non-judicial matter. To this day, the president can cancel any treaty voted by Congress at any time without approval. Yeah, see, that's crazy. That's crazy that a president's got such willy-nilly power, but that's the way it is, I guess. How's a president cancel a treaty when a treaty is ratified by the Senate and signed by, you think the Senate would get involved in it. But yeah, we've seen, presidents pull out of treaties. So Israel will be fighting forever, pretty much. But Israel's actually on the verge. Here's another nuclear news tidbit. Israel is actually on the verge of having a peace deal with Saudi Arabia because they both have a common enemy in Iran, and Iran's going nuclear. And Israel has endorsed and supports and may aid and assist in Saudi Arabia getting nukes. Israel wants Saudi Arabia to go nuclear. Saudi Arabia Arabia said that if Iran goes nuclear, we go nuclear. Well, I question, how would they do it so fast? Well, now we know. Israel may be the key. And for Israel, having Saudi Arabia nuclear would give them some way to hedge their strategy, because let's face it, if you nuked Haifa and there's two cities in Israel, they wouldn't nuke Jerusalem, but Haifa and Tel Aviv, guys, if those two cities were nuked, Israel would be done. Two nukes and Israel's over. So so they need some fallback. They need some redundancy that if they get taken out, whoever takes them out will reply. Now, Israel has a submarine, and I'm suppose they got their forces dispersed a little bit, but they would want the Saudis gave Israel overflight to hit Iran. Yeah. You see what I'm saying, guys? I can see this Iranian war kicking up, and this may be the key as to why this has happened in Gaza. This may be the actual key to the whole thing. The fact that Israel and Saudi Arabia are now making these deals may have got Iran to prod the people in Gaza to strike back. So this may be what we're dealing with. See, Shelly, how you doing? Glad you're here. So, hey, Granny Lana. Yeah, we are in testy times, and all these things, this whole thing with Israel going into and us going into Syria, I've always said that I thought that was more about Israel trying to take pressure off their northern flank and soften that area so that if they were to hit Iran, they wouldn't get a full-blown attack from Syria. But Syria has been seriously weakened by the fighting over there. And so the United States sponsored civil war in Syria. We sponsored groups in Syria that slaughtered Christians and other folks by the tens of thousands. Some of the people we sponsored. You got to bear in mind, al-Assad actually supported his Christian population. So the strategies that have been endorsed in order to weaken the flank for Israel have been somewhat less than absolutely savory, in my humble opinion. I got a question: why are we still in Syria? people in Syria pretty much, yeah, you're right, my peeps. So it is, none of this is pretty. None of it is pretty, and war makes for strange bedfellows. So it's just like World War II. My last duty base in the Army was Fort Greely, Alaska. Fort Greely, Alaska was built for an airstrip. In fact, the Alaskan Highway was built to supply Fort Greely, Alaska's airstrip so that we could supply Russia during World War II. We supplied a lot of stuff to Russia. If it wasn't for the United States supplying Russia, Russia might not have survived the Nazi invasion of their country. So, so much for what that did for us in world peace, in ensuing years, right? The Soviet Union was very aggressive after that, and not particularly friendly to us, in the course of the Cold War. Now Russia today is a totally different matter, but maybe not too different in some ways. At least they're not communist, but they're still not as democratic as some folks would like to see them. But then again, neither is the United States anymore. So in a lot of the so-called Western countries, a lot of the representative government seems to be somewhat less than meets the eye. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to not trigger. Hey, trigger! I'm trying not to trigger the Al Gores that have no rhythm here on this platform. If you know what I mean. I would avoid Twitter a few days. So whoa, yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there, guys. Yeah, my Twitter, I tried to open it up a little bit ago and it crashed on me. So it must be getting hit by people due to the war. That may be why some other stuff I was trying to do. Yeah, there's a bunch of things I've been trying to do this afternoon, just crashing. And that's one of the reasons I'm late coming in here. According to the established practice, the president has authority to act on behalf of the United States and suspend and terminate treaty commitments. Okay. All right, guys. So let's go into and look at some of these articles. We're going to share. Oh, before I do that, guys, I'm going to point out, guys, with all the pressure, you need to be prepping. That's why I'll bring you these videos. Well, what I started out saying, I kind of got sidetracked, is, I brought on people. I do believe an ounce of prevention's worth a gallon of cure. And that's why I bring in people like David Pine. I've had him on my channel many times, and maybe we're so far along into these conflicts, I don't know that the things that he was trying to do would make any difference now. We are really cooking toward these things. And I think with the governments, the powers that be, they want war. I really think they do, because that would keep them in power, because the population's getting fed up with the bureaucratic institutions that's been running our countries throughout the West. Hey, Halo there, Space Girl. Halo, Altitude Liftoff. That's the name of the program that I ran. It got me this board right here. Altitude Liftoff. So when I say Halo, I mean it in more than one way. Hello, Halo. All righty, guys. So thank you for asking for the thumbs up there, Jason. So, guys, I'm going to share, what I was about to say. I do believe the ounce of prevention is the way to go whenever we can. That's why I push to get our power grid hardened. It may be too late now, but I've been pushing for that for years. So I got this podium placard. I actually ran 2 power grid defense conferences before I ever went on YouTube. This is what I was doing. In fact, that's what got me on Rex Bear's channel. My first video on Rex Bear got about 40,000 views. And I was a guest of his several times. And after I got done with the conference, I got thinking, I'm doing pretty good as a guest on Rex Bear Show. Why don't I start my own channel? But it started out to be an urban gardening channel. And when I started talking power grid defense, all the preppers joined, and that's where we became a prepper channel here, guys. So Red October, let's go, says Felicia. Well, it may be, but let's hope and pray that the saner heads prevail, or something happens and we don't go down this rabbit hole. But we are on a slippery slope and it looks dangerous. And for these reasons, you need to prep. That's why I bring you these videos, far more than any other reason. We don't know, my peeps, for a fact what DEFCON level we're at, because that's classified. Canadian preppers suggested that we were DEFCON 2. And when you look at the kind of maneuvers with all the doomsday planes that's been in the air, the B-52s in the air, it looks like it. Just from a casual observer on the outside, because I don't work at, at Stratcom. I'm not there at Minot Air Force Base. I'm not in the Space Command. I wear a Space Command pin on my hat. Space Command almost came to Huntsville, and who knows? Trump gets elected, it may yet. But I hope we get old Fort Bragg in the house tonight. Maybe he'll tell us what's happening in Fort Bragg. So if you guys live next to a military base, tell us what you're seeing. Are you seeing a lot of increased activity? Yeah, you're right, Jason. It's classified. We don't know for a fact what DEFCON level we're at, but when you look at the activity going on, when you look at the kind of things being said right now by both sides, when you look at the alerts we've had, when you look at the training exercise the Russians just did, nationwide nuclear drills, I would be somewhat surprised, especially when you consider all the doomsday planes that's been in the air, the B-52s that's been in the air. I think it's highly suspicious that we're either at DEFCON 3 or 2. Good possibility, very big possibility. I'm gonna show you some. I'll show you the page on that. So guys, like I said, what we're about here is getting prepared. I tell you to grow a garden. I tell you to do these kind of things. I've got the water survival videos. You need to really go watch my nuclear survival videos. I got some of the best videos out there on nuclear content because I'm an engineer, guys. So when I bring you stuff talking about radiation, you can take it to the bank. DEFCON levels, yes, actually DEFCON levels can be for various commands too. In fact, that's typical. I'll show you that in a little bit. It's not like it's military wide. It's still military wide. It's certain commands, certain units would be put on a higher level of readiness than others. So guys, what you need to consider is getting right now, think real hard about getting you some long-term food storage. I would suggest go to prepwithgreg.com because there I got these buckets. This is 2 weeks of some food that I can toss around real easy. This is a 2-week supply of food. There's like 21 different varieties, 21 or 25 different varieties in here. There's 92 servings in this bucket, except I took one out. There's plenty of food in here. There's a lot of varieties. It's lightweight. That's what's best about it. You can bug out with this stuff. You can put this on your motorcycle almost. You can strap it on. You could take these pouches out and throw them in your backpack. I'll show you one in a second. Guys, there's a lot you can do. Let's go to prepwithgreg.com. But the best thing about this is it lasts 25 years. That bucket's sealed. You can put it, you can bury it, put it in a cache. And you need to bury some stuff. Because so many people guess, well, Greg, if this happens in my place, if that happens in my place, what about my supplies? Find you places to bury some of this stuff, especially if it's on the way to bug out, or even in your house. You can get your house overrun. And they're going to come through and clean out your pantries. The government has provisions to come get your stuff even. So the best thing to have is some stuff that you can bury. I'm not saying that, you need 2 or 3 years of probably of food if you could have it, if you can afford it. But even if it's just a little bit, if you could bury some of it outside and they come to your house, the best thing to do in a situation sometimes is to evade, because sometimes you can't take on the forces that's coming at you. Just let them, if you can back off and let them take the house and clean it out, then they'll probably move on. If not, your house better than them. You could snipe them out and go back and reoccupy it if you had to. The cool thing is this right here is, you use hot water to constitute this stuff. And yeah, this is the kind of pouch you can put in your backpack. It's flexible. You can just throw several of these in your backpack, and you'd have a lot of food if you had to hit the road or the woods. That would be a good way to move things. And these are also sealed. So between the sealing of the bucket and the sealing of these, you're in good shape with that. So we've only answered moon questions hundreds of times in here. Oh, no moon. What do you mean no moon? We got a moon. I don't know if we can see it yet. It is after the full moon. It comes up later and later every night. So what's happening in Israel right, man? Yeah, Israel is being rocked right now, literally with rockets and all kinds of stuff. A lot of fire, small arms fire going on. Israel's got tanks, probably got their jets coming into action now. So Joint Base, Elmendorf, Fort Richardson, Eielson, air traffic, flight radar, Alaska, skies. No military traffic, Don? Are you up there? You said there's no military traffic right now? That's interesting. That's interesting. All right, guys. So, in fact, let me show you the website. Let's go start into the websites. Here we go. I'm going to show you a bunch of other news websites, but this is right here, prepwithgreg.com. Right now, you can get 25% off a 3-month supply. 3-month supply is 6 buckets, because that bucket, what I said was that's 2 weeks. 1 bucket is 2 weeks, okay? 96 servings in a bucket, 21 varieties, 25-year shelf life. You get breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you get some drinks and desserts in that. And these buckets themselves are useful, you know, after you go through the contents. They're useful for storage. Maybe you need a honey bucket to do your business in, or who knows what you might use these buckets for. Storing water. They're useful. These buckets are good and rugged buckets. That's what I like about them. You know, if you watch some of the other prep and supply things, you know, they show you those big things, and they show the lady pushing across the threshold like she's having a hard time with it. You can handle it. Your kids can carry these, even small kids, because they're lightweight. So that's a good thing about them. But now, if that's too much for you, now look, that price has stayed the same. When you think about how many meals you get, 3 months, 3 meals a day, multiply it out, guys. Tell me where you can find that many meals at that price. You won't hardly find it anywhere like that. And then you can get a 2-week supply, just 1 bucket for $127. If that's all you can afford, you might want to think about that real hard. But the cool thing is you can get other prep and supplies here too. Just click on the My Patriot Supply button. Bing. And you can get survival items, water filtration. You can get air purification. And they have specials, deals of the day, things like that you can check out. They got that nice little heater here. Many things you can look at. Oh, let's see. You can maybe even enter to win this fancy survival vehicle. So you got a little lottery going too. Who knows, guys? All righty. So here we are. Vladimir Putin's new world, devastating consequences with no chance of survival. That's what Putin is saying. So Vladimir Putin, you know, he said a lot of things, and some of them have been, you know, perhaps just a bluff to keep people from wanting to attack him. No air traffic. Well, that's odd. No air traffic. This is in Alaska. Huh. That's odd. Well, no, or is it no air traffic or no transponder zone? Which, like Stephen suggested, they don't have they do turn the transponders on to take off and land at least. I'm in a joint base. Oh, you are in a joint base. So, you know, you see it right firsthand. Okay. All right. So he can tell us no air traffic. So why, Stephen, would there be no air traffic right now? Are they waiting? Are they holding it back? I suppose civilian jet traffic is still going in and out of Fairbanks and Anchorage, right? So I have flown in and out of Anchorage and Fairbanks. I've flown out of Fort Emmendorf, also Emmendorf Air Force Base. Eielson is up close to Fairbanks. Oh yeah, I was going to show you something else. Something he said here is really disconcerting. That's the Sarmat 2 test launch. So basically, what he said is that any attack on the motherland would provoke an immediate response with hundreds of nuclear missiles. Immediate. And here is his quote right here. From the moment the launch of missiles is detected. Now, see, that's the scary part. We've always waited to see what these missiles were going to do in the past, to see if this was a legitimate alert. But that's not what he's saying. He says from the moment the launch of missiles is detected, no matter where it comes from any part of the world ocean or from any territory, such a number, so many hundreds of our missiles appear in the air in a retaliatory strike, there is no chance of survival. There will be no single enemy left in several directions at once. Just like he's saying he's going to launch everything. He's going to attack all of his enemies. Is what it sounds like. Did he really mean it that way? Is this an issue with the translation? But this whole thing from the moment of launch, if that were the actual policy through the history of our Cold War with the USSR, the Soviet Union, we would have had nuclear war several times over. We've had several close calls, several misunderstandings, several cases where each side thought they were being launched on initially. They gave it a little time and discovered no, they weren't. The good thing about having stuff fly over the poles is it takes about 45 minutes for the stuff to reach here. So you typically have the luxury of time. Now, the problem with going with all these hypersonic missiles is that it erases the time. The problem with having missiles on destroyers and other ships at sea, as we have today, in addition to the submarines, is you take away that margin of time also. So suddenly the hair trigger is starting to get twitchier. And that gets us in a situation that we might go nuclear by accident. Or it could be an incident between our various forces that trigger a war, when maybe a war wasn't what was intended, because everybody is being testy. A new world. Putin reveals Russia's mission amid ongoing Ukrainian conflict. President Vladimir Putin basically declared yesterday that Russia's objective is to establish a new world. And he says that this relentless offensive, the onslaught in Ukraine, is to fight Western hegemony. Putin framed the entire military involvement in Ukraine, saying it was all about that as part of an enduring confrontation with the West. And he elaborated, and this is a direct quote, translated, of course, we are essentially tasked with creating a new world. The West always requires an adversary, he remarked. So I guess his intention is to give them what they're asking for. In that case, the them is us, according to what he's looks like he's saying. So however you want to take it, he's saying the war was instigated by the Kyiv regime. It's been ongoing for a decade, and the special military operation was launched to halt it. So, yeah, there's many ways to interpret that, guys. I'm not going to get in that. I'm not picking sides, but this is more, this comports more with what I've been saying about this all along. So, what was this article? Oh yeah, this article was about the fact that Russia said, it's a Wall Street Journal, so don't let me go in there without subscribing to it. But what this article here was all about was saying that Russia is stepping back from its non-nuclear test treaty, that Russia is going to step out of that. Well, so is the United States, apparently. U.S. on the path to begin underground testing of nuclear weapons stockpile. So both nations are about to actually start weapons tests. So we suspended it by treaty for a couple of decades. It's been a while since we've done underground nuclear tests. And so both sides, and even China apparently is also about to start this up. And again, I said that Putin says successful tests carried out of the new nuclear-powered strategic missile. So that Skyfall, Bernisket. So they've tested it. Now let's talk about DEFCON. 5 levels of DEFCON. DEFCON 1, nuclear war is imminent or already begun. DEFCON 2 is fast-paced. Next step to nuclear war. DEFCON 2 is extremely serious, and very seldom has it been evoked. DEFCON 3 it's considered a very high level. Now, if you go to like DEFCON.com, it will tell you we're at DEFCON 3, but they don't know. They don't know. It's called roundhouse. You ever heard of a roundhouse kick in karate? And increase the force readiness above that required for normal readiness. Well, nuclear forces always have to be on the ready. So when you're above normal and you're already on the ready, and from our side, it's Air Force ready to mobilize in 15 minutes. Of course, our strategic missiles would be ready immediately, but maybe this is our bomber fleet. DEFCON 4 is a double take, increased intelligence and watch the strengthened security measures above normal readiness. DEFCON 5 is the lowest level. If we're not at DEFCON 4, I'd be surprised. And I think there's a good chance we'd be either at 2 or 3. Now, to give you some history, we were at DEFCON 2 in the Cuban Missile Crisis. But with the exception of the Army in Europe, because they weren't over here as part of that, and there was nothing they could do about it. DEFCON 3, the Yom Kippur War. And again, it was just certain units. So it included the Strategic Air Command, SAC, Continental Air Defense Command, back in the day. The European Command and the 6th Fleet were placed at DEFCON 3. So we had a lot of forces at DEFCON 3 during the Yom Kippur War, because we thought that Russia was about to jump in to that war over there in Israel. And there's some forces that suggested that they were. That is Operation Paul Bunyan, the September 11 attacks. So these are times that they've published that we were at these DEFCON levels. That doesn't mean those are the only times, guys. So, all right, North Korea provides artillery for the Ukraine war. But, there's other countries supplying that. Website's froze for some reason. I hope the whole browser hasn't froze up. It's trying to. All right, Russia scrambled fighter jets to escort U.S. patrol plane over Norwegian Sea. The United States had expelled 2 Russian embassy officers after Russia earlier expelled 2 U.S. diplomats from the American embassy. Now, see, that's another thing that happens for a nuclear war. They start expelling diplomats. So, guys, there's a lot of signs that things are not all well back in the shop, if you know what I mean. All right, Juanita. Barrett's Observer. Oh, come on, quit that stuff. F-35s intercept Russian maritime patrol aircraft that came near carrier group. Now, this was the UK Queen Elizabeth, I guess, or HMS Queen Elizabeth, which is, as far as I know, the only aircraft carrier that is in the possession of England. But see, these were Norwegian F-35s. Norway is a member of NATO. Finland is a member of NATO. Sweden has not been admitted yet. All right. North Korean nuclear reactor paused. Now, this has been in the news for a few days on and off, but what happens is a lot of folks think that they've shut down the normal operations of the plant to focus on producing nuclear fuel from their spent fuel rods. So a lot of people think that they are taking this shutdown of the plant to go into high-intense mode for producing nuclear warheads in North Korea. North Korea already has a few, guys. Yeah, we talked about Israel. We can go back to it a little bit if you so want. Turkey confirms explosion in Black Sea off Romanian coast. What happened was, a Turkish cargo ship hit a mine. So, so this is different ships from different countries hitting mines. And Turkey is a NATO member. Like I said, we got a lot of incidents going that puts us on the precipice of a bigger war. Kremlin official openly calls for return of Baltic states using Russian weapons. So what they're talking about here, Russia invading Baltic states. So in this case, the guy's saying it needs to be done so that the whole world does not turn into Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, okay. So let's go kill a bunch of folks so that we don't have Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, I think that's God's job. All right. Putin pulled out of the prized Black Sea fleet out of, that's what they're saying here is that there's some satellite photographs that show they have less ships there in Sevastopol than the Crimean naval base that they have. But, they've been getting hit by drones and little special operations troops in Crimea. Crimea's got some units that internally from some of the internal populations, some of the natives there. I think the Cossacks have been also attacking some of the Russian facilities there. All right, or is it Tartars? One of the groups there. Military. Russia intensifies attacks, and so the slugfest is still going on. Russia intensifies attacks in Lyman, Kapunt's direction. Ukrainian Air Force carries out 15 strikes on Russian Army. Rocket forces hit 7 targets. I'll tell them get all this stuff. Wait a minute. Is that where I wanted it? No, I'm gonna move this. This needs to be toward the end somewhere. Ukrainian armed forces advance, and I don't even know how to say that. Andrea Victor, I don't know, Robotin, Verbov, but these aren't big advances. And I'm gonna tell you guys, Ukraine could lose the war. In fact, if they don't move fast, the time is not on their side. The bruising artillery battle in Ukraine has left a scar that's visible from space, guys. All the artillery rounds have made pock marks, and apparently you can see all this from space. It's hard to tell from this photograph what it is. They've highlighted it in this photograph, so that makes it kind of think that's been, they had false colors to show the areas. Anyway, so it's been intense. They're going through a lot of ammunition on both sides. Russians try to attack on 6 fronts. Ukrainians' defense force repel all attempts according to them. Guys, everything you see, consider all these articles propaganda. Consider every article you see on this war propaganda from one side or the other. So don't take it full tilt. I mean, it's indicative that something's going on. But that's why one reason I'm not going into great detail with all the tit for tat battle stuff. There's channels that will do that. If you want to watch the day-by-day play, like you're watching some kind of sports game, go for it. But in the end, it's bigger things that's going to decide the war. We'll talk about that in a minute here. Ukrainian defenders supposedly off a good number of Russian soldiers in one day and destroy 20 Russian tanks. All right, here we are. This is where, one thing I've told you all along, even if we continue to fund and provide tons of ammunition to Ukraine at full tilt, if we continue to fund and push stuff over there and gave them everything they asked for, over time, if the war drags out, what I've always said is if Russia has resolve to do it, and if the war drags out, over time is on the side of Russia, because Russia is a bigger country than Ukraine. They have, you might say, well, they're not bigger than the United States, but we only send so many things over, and allegedly we depleted our supplies. We're 3 years behind on all kind of missiles and ammunition. It's going to take us 3 years to replenish some of our supplies. So if we get into war right now, we could be in a hurt, unless we're pulling a weakness, Austerlitz type move, feigning weakness for Russia to attack us, and Russia could be doing the same thing. And everybody studies the history and of warfare, so these things could be. Hey Felicia, that's the name of the aircraft carrier. I don't give a I don't care so much about a queen, but that's just the name of the aircraft carrier, if that's what you're referring to. All them potholes are our money. So yeah, but like I said, the reason that Ukraine is pressed in the long term is that no matter how much stuff you give them, we're not giving them more Ukrainians unless we put our boots on the ground in there which would really be a World War III type situation. If Ukrainians are not making new Ukrainians fast enough to resupply the front. Okay, there's a limitation in the number of soldiers that can go to combat. I've often painted the analogy with the North and the South and the war between the states. The South was doing great the first 2 years. The South was arguably winning up until the Battle of Gettysburg, and he made a critical error and lost a lot of troops and Pickett's charge, and the South never recovered from that. The South never recovered. It was all downhill from there. But it still took almost 2 years for the North to beat the South, even after the South had suffered really a fatal defeat in that battle. So even if Ukraine tries to take Crimea and loses a lot of troops doing so, whether they win the peninsula or not, they're going to deplete their well of soldiers that they're drawing from, and over time, that's going to take a toll. They'll have a lot harder time replenishing their soldiers than Russia will, unless NATO gets involved. And I hope NATO don't get involved, because that would be World War III. Will be ironic when Zelensky turns to Russia once all of our weapons are depleted. He might want to negotiate for peace at that point. Right now, he don't want to negotiate for peace because he thinks he can still win. Here's a key thing. They've claimed they've broken through all the lines of Russian defense. They claim now they've got their armor in it. This is the time. If Ukraine really wants to win this war, they need to really focus on that and change their strategy and treat that like the tip of the spearhead and pour their forces through and go in and attack the rear areas that are supplying the Russian forces with, the Russians are relying on rail. Russians require rail to move all their artillery rounds, their supplies. If they were to go in and attack those supply depots, those railheads, and get in behind the Russian forces, outflank them, start threatening to cut some off, a lot of them would go into retreat, and they could possibly score a number of victories, maybe even win the war if they move really fast. If they could actually go into Rostov-on-Don and take that city, that supplies a lot of, that's in Russia though. If they were to invade Russia, that would really up the ante, but that would cut off the supplies. That could get us into World War III. So, or Belgorod and Rostov-on-Don are the two Russian main hubs that are supplying the war effort into Ukraine. So, yeah, but that also would possibly put us into World War III situation. I don't know if Russia would go full tilt for World War III over that, and use tactical nukes. But there's a good chance because Putin can't afford to lose. If he loses his power, which in Russia means it will cease to exist in a matter of days. So, and Putin knows it. What's the main objective of a outfit like Putin has, is to stay in power. So, but this article I was showing you here is but here's the thing. They may not have to wait to attrition, because the United States, a lot of the polls said, people in America don't want to supply stuff over there. The people in America are not happy with it. We know about Israel, says Jason. Yeah, a lot of people are asking about Israel coming in. EMP. Well, what did you say about EMP? EMP makes sense, Greg. Yeah, EMP may happen. Russia considers an EMP attack to be electronic warfare. That was what the late, great Dr. Peter Vincent Pry taught us. That's in their doctrine, that it's electronic warfare, because you don't directly nuke somebody. It's you affect their electronics or electrical systems from high altitude. But the long-term effects is that it will wipe out 9/10 of the population within a year. Actually, I think it's going to be higher. So we'd be in a bad situation. But what Canadian Prepper was talking about today, that we might actually use nukes to stop their warheads coming in, try to EMP the first wave of what they shoot at us. Wow, guys, that means we'd be EMPing ourselves practically. So that's like burning a house down to get rid of the termites. That would be a horrific situation. There's nothing about that that's pretty, we stopped the nukes, we're good. No, we're not. We're in deep kimchi, bad. Anyway, So it's not just in the United States. Now, here's the other thing. I've always said, look, if you look at all the countries in Europe, the European Union, they got more manpower than we do. Collectively, they have a bigger economy. So why are we underwriting them all the time? Why are we the ones sending all the money over? See, one of the EU members of parliament says, well, if the United States pulls their funding out, we can't replace it. And no, it's not that we can't do it. It's and I'm talking for Europe here, for the we, it's that they don't want to. They don't have the resolve to, or they haven't set the mechanisms up. But if they were desperate enough, they've got the economy to do it. So why is the United States always the ones that's underwriting everything? That's been my big question. Why don't Europe take care of Europe? What do you think, Shill Maiden? Shill Maiden's in England. What do you think about this? I'd be interested in what some people that live over there have said. We used to get a guy in here from France. I've not seen him in a while. Revelation 3:9 every time. AI, well, we need there's going to be some AI might actually trigger the war. If you're using AI as for your decision-making matrix, we might be in trouble. Anyway, Poland was Ukraine's staunchest ally, because Poland knows that Russia is probably coming from them next. That's what they suspect. So they're trying to build the strongest army in Europe right now. But they've got into bitter rivalry with Ukraine. So some other European countries have too, because all that grain coming out of Ukraine, coming over land and stuff through the Black Sea, has the deal was that you don't sell it here, you ship it to the people in Africa and other countries that need it. That's what it was supposed to be for. But they're dumping a lot of it in these other countries and undercutting their native farmers. Their farmers in Poland and other countries are getting their legs cut out from under them, because suddenly they can't sell their grain because Ukraine grain is cheaper. And so that grain should move on, but they've got a lot of consternation over that. So Poland and Ukraine are getting crosswise with each other, and some of the other countries have too. So, but even that, Poland is saying Russia must be stopped as soon as possible. Why? Because they figure Russia's coming from them. But Slovakia had actually come out and said that they weren't going to supply any more military aid to Ukraine. Well, they reversed that. It might be because of pressure from the European Union, from NATO, or even the United States. Oh, you want this, you want that? Well, you better pine up a little bit over here. That may be what that's all about. So the Slovakia's new president, Zuzana, however you say that, I don't even try to pronounce that name, expressed support for continuing military assistance. This is earlier stance against it. Yeah, she's changed. She's pulled a Biden wall maneuver here. She's flipped. But Ukraine's got some other ways to get some short-term money. They've seized $450 million worth of assets from 3 Russian oligarchs. So maybe they can buy a few things. I don't know, guys. Europe on brink of another war. Yeah, Kosovo and Serbia, guys. And we put NATO forces in Kosovo. We enabled Kosovo to get its independence from Serbia. We did that back in the Clinton days. Some of us thought that was a wag the dog maneuver because things weren't going so well from him. You got to remember, back in the day, Clinton was dealing with such thing as I did not have sex with that woman. It was my cigar. My cigar did it. My cigar had all the fun. Anyway, so a lot of us thought that was a wag the dog maneuver. Get us in that. I don't know, guys. You tell me what you think about it. But tensions boil as China leads sea blockade after closest dangerous maneuver. Yeah, they almost rammed one of the Filipino ships there, guys. You see this? Look at that. Look at that photograph right there. Yeah, they almost rammed. See, this ship here ran right in front of the Filipino ship. But it looked like they were going to hit it, so they ran right in front of it. This was a very dangerous maneuver. I'm sure these guys had to stop their engines, because it was, when you look at it, the video of it, it looks like they'd collide. So what they were doing, they boxed in these Filipino ships. They tried to keep them from going to support their ship that's moored there on the Thomas Shoal and the Spratly Islands. And what happened is the Filipino ships, these Chinese Coast Guard ships were huge, and they also had two the blue painted Chinese militia ships, which aren't considered part of their actual military, but it's militia, which is really like their military. So, hey, John, we got John in the house. All right, very good. So, oh, John, Juanita's laughing at something here. Lawyers are afraid tonight for free speech and religion. Yeah, we got to keep our freedoms, guys. So, this is what's cooking. I've been on here 60 minutes. Okay. This is high tensions here. As you know, the Chinese Coast Guard has been attacking Filipino ships with water cannons and lasers and all kind of stuff to try to stop them. They put up the barrier, which the Philippines cut to try to keep them out. Oh yeah, and of course, China put up barriers to try to stop our ships from going through the seas there. And they actually, their submarine got hung in it, and it cost them loss of a submarine with a crew of 55. Now that was news. It's been a few days old, but suddenly I saw the last day or two, a bunch of channels were covering it like it was brand new news. No, it wasn't brand new news, but it was, it's fairly recent, guys. So, oh yeah, according to Asia Times, U.S. provocatively points new nuke-tipped missile at China, and they're talking about these cruise missiles. Well, yeah. Apparently, the U.S. just tested a new type of nuclear-tipped air-launched cruise missile, reaffirming the viability of the air-based leg. So we've also got a program that we call Rapid Dragon, in which we're taking cruise missiles. It's a different cruise missile than this one. That we can put several of them in one cargo container and drop the whole container out of the back of a C-135, a cargo craft. And all these missiles will launch out of that container, multiple missiles. And so suddenly we've got our cargo containers that can act as arsenal ships in the air, basically, and launch a major attack from that. And we're also putting a lot into drones. Shield Maiden says, well, U.S. defend the Philippines of force. We actually have a treaty to do that. So that's why in the Philippines, that may be the actual spark of the war with China. We do have a treaty with Philippines, and we're building new bases there. I don't think I was ready to show this. Now let's move this out a few more. I'll move this article over. We'll cover that before we hit weather. This is another about the nuclear. That's one of the militia ships right there. They typically paint their militia ships blue. That's a whole lot like a supply boat. That's the kind of boat I launch a balloon. That's about the size of boats I would go out in the Gulf of Mexico from and launch balloons with rockets attached to them. That's a supply ship. That's kind of about the size of the ships we use in the Gulf of Mexico to work our oil rigs down there. And that's about the size of ship that I've rented a few times back when I was doing sea-based Raccoon launches. And Raccoon is a rocket launch from a balloon. That's something I did and led out of our own pockets. Tanks in Michigan. They make tanks in Michigan. General Dynamics Land Systems Division that builds the M1 tank is based in Michigan, close to Detroit. I've been to their plant because I worked on the M1 tank once upon a time, a couple of different occasions. I worked on the M1 tank. I have actually worked on the F-15, building test program sets to test for failures of line replaceable units so a soldier could replace them. That's some of the things I did umpteen years ago. Last time I did TPS development was back about 25 years ago. All right, now here we are. I know we'll break out the war news for just a minute. Travel as we know it could be on the brink of extinction by 2040. Basically, they don't want people flying. Remember I told you the other day that people in Europe were saying that nobody should fly more than 4 times? So apparently the powers that be, the Klaus Schwab ilk, really want to stop travel. They want to put you all in 15-minute cities anyway, and you'll have to have permission to leave and be only permitted to do it in very limited numbers of times. And they want to, it'll be cold in 2040. It may be. It may be. Oh, we got some new earthquakes here. Whoa, that's a big one. That's in Iran, looks like. 5.9. Oh, it's Afghanistan. Okay. Actually, looks like there's two. No, that's the inner circle. What's the outer circle? 6.3. Yeah, I knew there was a big one here. That's a big one. Look at the Ring of Fire. Wow, it's really popping off. That's a lot of earthquakes. Ring of Fire was active the last time we were here. Look at it now, guys. Super active. Greg, will you eat some bugs? I got no plans for that. I got no plan. Wow, this is a real active earthquake map. Mexico, 5.9. I got a couple in Chile, it looks like. Let's go up here and look at Alaska. So, Mr. Bird, you up there in Alaska? Are you in the military? You work as a civilian at the base? What's your deal? You still in the house, Mr. Burge? Got several off Japan. Yeah, it's pretty active through here up in Alaska. Lots of little earthquakes in the Aleutian Islands, the peninsula, on up into mainland Alaska. 4.4, Fox Islands. 3.9. Central Alaska, 4.2. 4 kilometers northwest of Anchorage. That's really close to Anchorage. That's really close. There's like 2 of them right here near Juneau, the state capital. Is chilly weather in the house? Because that's okay. That's just blowing down in Mineral, California. It's not in Oregon, but that's not too far off. Man, there's always earthquakes right here. White City, New Mexico. Puerto Rico is always rocking. The people in Puerto Rico rock. And so does their land. You know, I think something got close. Okay. Weather. We got some strong circulation off the coast here. A lot of potential storms. The country's got a cool wave coming through. Just passed through here. All right, Bangor, Maine is 61. Oh yeah, somebody sent me a gift. I have to show you that in a minute. Holton is 61. New Day's got out of the hospital today, and she went and mowed her yard. She was in the hospital. She had a little situation she had to do, and she went out and mowed the yard. Look, Huntsville's the same temperature as Houghton, Maine. Richmond 66. New York is 64. That's warmer than Memphis. We got the system coming in. Warmer than Huntsville. Erie is 57. I got some 50s up in here. 40s up in Ohio. Look at that. 50 in Columbus. Cleveland's 53. Toledo is 46. 46 is over here. Fort Wayne, Indiana, where Bright Eyes from Beneath the Planet of the Apes was from. Character played by Carlton Heston. That's why the orangutans knew he was a military guy, because he was from Fort Wayne, Indiana. He was from a fort. I love this, the way they did the script in that movie. That was interesting. Illinois got some 40s. 50s in Kentucky. Missouri got 40s. Tennessee's in the 50s. Everybody from Arkansas tonight. Little Rock's 59. Heber Springs is 53. Fayetteville's 46. Monroe, Louisiana, Devil temperature 66. McNollins is 75. Houston is 71. Dallas is 64. Albuquerque is 57. Alamogordo, been there many times. I haven't been to Albuquerque many times, 61. Las Cruces, been there many times, 68. Phoenix, a balmy, cool 86 for them. That's cool. Flagstaff, 55. All right. Oh, Snowflake is 59. A snowflake's cooler than either Holbrook or Shola. Shola is up higher. You expect Shola to be cooler. Moke Lake is 59 degrees. I went to a farmer's market in Sholo and met a nice couple there who were selling garlic that had sold out almost. And the lady, she looked at me and said, "You're Green Greg's, right?" And I says, yes. Kind of smiled. She says, "I was wondering how come you kept covering Sholo in your live sessions." and Snowflake. I just laughed. So yeah, well, here I am. I just spent a month out there a couple weeks ago, and we'll be going back in a few weeks. All right, Chewy Weather's in the house. I don't know, I haven't seen Chewy tonight. Eugene is 62. That's warmer than Huntsville. Drain. That's an interesting name for a town. Drain. I might put a drain on you. 61, same as Huntsville. Mill City, 57. All right, Seattle is double nickel. All right, let's go over to Idaho, 50s, 40s. Montana, 40s. We got to go to Minnesota. Over here in Dakotas, Minot is 37. That's one of our strategic forces right there at Minot, guys. They may be on alert. Here we are. Here's Minnesota. 43. Big Falls, 41. Ew. St. Paul, 46. Yeah, they got 40s. Elk River, 46. St. Cloud, 44. Let's go up to Alberta. Back Alberta. Red Deer's 50. Calgary's 46. So, see, in Alberta, you get cooler temperatures down here a lot of times than up here. Fort McMurray, 46. Slave Lake, 53. Eric Court, how you doing? Hello to you. British Columbia. Vancouver's 59. Hey, if you ever get a chance to drive down the Fraser River Canyon, it's beautiful. You'd think you were in the Swiss Alps. You'd expect to see Heidi pop around the corner with some goats. Delta Junction, 30 degrees. A lot of snow up in Alaska now. Valdez is 41. We got everybody from Alaska. Oh, yeah, we had Mr. Burge from Alaska in here earlier. Oh, yeah. Anchorage is 41. Homer's 48. Seward is 41. Kodiak Island, 46. Elmendorf Air Force Base and Fort Richardson in this area. Fort Greely is right here. There's a little bit of snow on parts of Fort Greely. This is Alaska Range. You got Mount Hayes, Mount Deborah down here. And of course, Mount McKinley or Denali is the largest mountain in North America. You got the Allen Army Airfield. I mentioned that earlier, that was supplied Russia during World War II. Well, it's going to show us. There it is. There's the Allen Army Airfield right there. Fort Greely Missile Defense Area. I mentioned these missiles. Missile defense. Donnelly training area. There's a 4,000-foot tall mountain there that we never thought of as a mountain because we had real big mountains all around it. We called it a hill, but it's 4,000 foot high. North Pole. That's where Santa Claus. There's a Santa Claus house. Oh, Fairbanks is 28. So Alaska's starting to cool down a little bit now. Barrow's 28. Dead Horse is 23. Nome is 32. Kotzebue, 30. Bethel, 43. Yeah, so they had an earthquake. They're having earthquakes down here, guys. All right, let's back out. Ding, 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 ding. Then we'll go to Europe. And we'll go down under. We got Snoopy Snacks in your house. So let's look down under. Then we'll go to England, Europe. Melbourne, it's springtime down there now. Melbourne, 55. Capital city, Canberra, 62. Sydney, 62. Tasmania, Hobart is 57. Perth is 80. Wow, it's warm over there where Perth's at. Perth is 80. Alice Springs is 80. That's in the desert, guys. And up here near the equator, Weipa, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, is 93. We get people from Australia and New Zealand in the house. You get back from Australia and New Zealand in the house right now? Paul LaRoof. A 400-pound black bear. Where'd you see that at? All kind of things happens when you get old. Christchurch is 48. Dunedin is 46. You could be in New Zealand, could be in Alberta, about the same range of temperatures. All right, let's get up here too. Let me make sure this is, sometimes when I scroll around, it messes up the dates as I may accidentally hit this. Oh, you got a lot of snow up in Norway. Warsaw, that's capital Poland, 62. Kyiv is 53. Moscow, 39. Oslo, 48. Oh, Scotland's got some heavy rain up there on the western coast. A lot of rain up in Scotland, looks like. A little heavy right here, that little rotation. The 53 there. Inverness, 46. Yeah, this is the same temperature range as Alberta. London is 64, warmer than Huntsville, Alabama. Birmingham, England is 62. We'll have to compare it. Let's go back to Birmingham, Alabama. Let's see what it is in Birmingham, Alabama. 62, Birmingham, England. Hull is 64. Dublin, Ireland, 64. Limerick, Ireland. I love my limericks. 62. You'll see my Swivel Head News channel on YouTube. You'll see. Look at my shorts. There's a lot of limericks and other poems there. All right, we're going to Birmingham, Alabama. What was that? What was that? 60. Let's go back and double check. Birmingham, England is 62. I bet it's a little warmer than Birmingham, Alabama. They say the Gulf Stream is being is shutting down. If it does, England's going to be a lot cooler, Shoal Maiden. Are you up for that? Oh, it's colder than Birmingham, Alabama, 59. Birmingham, Alabama is colder than Birmingham. Hey, we got Alaskan Soul in the house. I woke up in the woods with 3 black bears at my feet, only a few feet away. Well, yeah, that'll get your attention. What did you do? Black bears take out more people than grizzlies or Alaskan brown bears. All right now in Hunt's Patch, it's 55. Chattanooga's 55. See, this got cooler since we were looking here earlier. It's cooling off rapidly. We just had a cold front come through. Yeah. How about that, guys? Tyler, Texas, 61. We're cooler. Birmingham, Alabama is cooler than Birmingham, England. I live right up here at the very tippy top of the state of Alabama. When I used to go to the flea market, that flea market was right over here in Tennessee. In fact, I went to Tennessee. I was Ardmore tonight. I was on the Tennessee side of Ardmore tonight, a little earlier. I go there more than I go to Huntsville. So I go to Tennessee, 2 or 3 times a week, probably. That's where I get my cigars, guys. That's where I get my cigars, so I can cut jokes to you guys. Laughing, thank you, God. They wanted bread more than me. Oh, that's always a good thing. A mom and her cubs, that's dangerous. Yeah, mama tear you up in a hurry if she thinks you're a threat to her cubs. I almost bought over in Blue Ridge before here. I said, you almost went to the Blue Ridge Mountains. Present temperature in my underground basement, 69. Well, that would be a good place to be, especially if the war starts. Oh, yeah, we should have went to Tulsa, Oklahoma, 48. Oklahoma City, 48. Spent a couple nights in Tulsa at Green Country Agroforestry, Jason Avers. I've had him as a guest on the channel many times, and he shows up in my chat room a lot of nights, but not this late. Salt Lake City, 48. Yeah, we got Granny in the house. We didn't cover Idaho. We didn't cover Utah. Ridgeville, 44. Rain River, 50. I used to Cedar City, 46. I used to fly into Salt Lake City a lot, and I would go up here and stay in Ogden, because Ogden was the closest place with decent hotels. I've been to a medical clinic in Tremont there. I got a friend, he's probably passed away by now. He was old back in the days. Got a friend that lives in Tremont. But we'd go up here somewhere in this area where they had the rocket test site for was ATK back in the day. Northrop Grumman's bought it out. Hey, look, they got a snowville up there. Yeah, I've seen some good snow up there, but this is pretty barren territory back in here. Let's see, I believe I don't know. Enough of that. Let's go over to space weather. Guys, we got a lot of asteroid activity right now. A lot of them are coming through. Sometimes they come through heavier than others. Sometimes there's just a few. Sometimes there's a lot. If it's pink, they're a concern. If it's a darker, they're a big concern. That's usually when they pass between the moon and the Earth. And we've had one today. Either we had or going to have. I don't know what time this one's to pass through, but this one is only 5 meters in diameter. So it's not a real threat. And it's going mostly, it'll be on the other side of our geosynchronous satellites. It's 7/10 of the way to the moon. And that's quite a berth. Earth is 8,000 miles in diameter. And this is the moon, is about 230, maybe 6,000 miles. So you can see it's a vast number compared to the size of the Earth. So being 7/10 of the way is, in my humble opinion, not too close. Nothing to worry about. So there's nothing on here that we see right now that we got to worry about, to be honest, guys. Aurora activity is kind of weak. There's not a lot of sunspots that look real threatening on the sun right now. They claim the magnetic fields of the sun are dropping. So we're about to get a pole switch. The sun's pole switch, whatever, 11 years as we go through the solar cycle. But this one seems to be coming along a little fast. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, guys, I got a bunch of articles over here talking about things like FBI targeting Trump followers, Hillary Clinton. You know, she came out and said that all MAGA people should go to re-education camps or something like that. I don't know. I want to go through all that tonight. We've been on here for 83 minutes. It's getting really late. It's almost 4 a.m. here. I may cover that in a video tomorrow. I may even put it on my Swivelhead News channel, because that's a little bit more on the political dimension than I really like to get on this channel. So I may put it on my Swivelhead News channel. So flip YouTube. Let me show y'all some. We still got the share going. Come on. Oh, hey, there we are. There is us. So I'm going to go to my channel first. We is live. come down here. I got a whole playlist for nuclear survival and prepping with Green Griggs. You need to watch these 2 videos if you've not watched them. I got 67,000 subscribers, only 4,200 of you watch this video. Oh my gosh, guys. Now, a lot of you did watch what to do in the first 24 hours, 7.4 thousand. That's Stacy Zavicki right there. And there's another one I did with her. That's what to do in the second 24 hours. I got a video just talking about nuclear bug out zones, and also some of the shelter stuff. Somewhat, a little bit redundant with these, but not too much. I would highly advise you to watch these 2 videos. That's the rest of the list. This one talks about gear to monitor radiation with. There's Dr. Pry. Unfortunately, he's passed away. Nuclear and volcanic winter prep. What to do for nuclear and volcanic winters. Guys, can't be Fergie and near Naples. Looks like it may be about to go. I am selling worms again. I might shut it down before I go to Arizona. Next time I'm heading out there, I'll probably shut that down. Here's just a regular bug out view video. And that's got 22,000 views, but still far shy of the 67,100 subs we got here. There's some EMP videos in here. I believe in this video, I talked about the Satan II and the Skyfall missile. And that was 4 years ago. I've been talking about this stuff longer than a lot of other channels. Some of the other big channels said they just recently discovered there's a channel that was growing microgreens, aquaponics, some other gardening, some fun stuff. So I set this up to be an urban gardening channel. That's why all the channels down here are gardening type homesteading channels. I think Leak Project's gonna be there somewhere. Yeah, see that? These are all, I need to update that for prepping content, don't I? Well, that's when I first set this channel up. All right, guys, let's look at let's go over here to see. I got these other channels, Serenity Soothing Sounds. You can subscribe to that. You can subscribe to Galactic Greg's, Product Papas, and Silverhead News. So I'm in Galactic Greg's. Let's go to that channel. Here's some of the limericks. And I just did one, McCarthy being ousted. And I'll probably have another video with Roguska real soon talking about that WHO business coming up at us. All right, guys. Enough of all that. Stop the share. Halo. Let me read through some comments real quick, and then we're going to call it a night. Yeah, the reason I go to Ardmore, that's where I get these cigars. I did not have sex with that woman. It was my cigar. My cigar did it. My cigar had all the fun, but I smoked that cigar. Boy, that was one good cigar. Loudy, folks. Okay, I hope you can have a little, we got to have a little fun here. I hope y'all found that humorous. Moon is plasma. Well, there's a lot of plasma around the moon, a lot of plasma around the Earth. Yeah, it's called the Great Year every 2,160 years. Paul, call that the Great Year in astronomy. Yeah, the pole star actually shifts. All right, Catherine, appreciate you being in the house. Oh, John's having a birthday and needs some healing. The moon is cheese, says Mark Christopher. ATK Launch Systems, Morton. Yeah, it used to be Morton Thiokol before that. Morton Fireball, that's what we called them during the Challenger accident. That's kind of a cool name for them. Morton Fireball, Morton Thiokol. That girl, good to see you. Greg, I got my windows open and a box fan. Oh, you're that warm? Turkey's in your driveway making a mess, huh? Guys, I'm actually going to have to run. 100 elk in your backyard. Wow, Paul. That's cool. Muzzleloader season. Yeah, you could be like Jeremiah Johnson hunting elk with muzzleloaders. Hey, I got some Hawking rifles. A couple of them. I built one when I was a kid. Somebody stole it. Paul, where you at? Where you at, Paul? Everybody, tell us where you're at. We're going to go. Getting cool. Yeah, it's starting to cool down. Autumn's getting in the air, guys. All right, let's see where everybody's from. Tell us where you're from. We're about to stop that. Hey, Eric Court. Salute. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Really, that's funny. Try to get a little laugh. All right, elk is my favorite beautiful creature. 2030, 2040 could be our next polar shift. I don't know. We may be getting some cooler weather. It's possible. Bella Vista, Arkansas, Utah, Northwest Montana, says that's young. Eastern Washington. Paul's in Eastern Washington. Okay. Archery. Hey, Juanita. Oklahoma. Hey, John. John, how close are you to Tulsa? Pennsylvania, says Juanita. Everybody pray for Joan tonight. Pray for New Day. She just got out of the hospital. Freaking wolves, beautiful animals. Yeah. South Arkansas, says Chris. Queensland, Australia. Hey, all right, isn't he? Alaska. Well, I'd hope so, Alaska Soul. Area 51. All right, Jason. Washington State. From Southside, Carly. Central Pennsylvania. That's what James Carville called it, wasn't it? When he started calling it Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. Actually, no, James Carville said in Pennsylvania, you got Pittsburgh on one side and Philadelphia on the other side, and he said it's all Alabama in between, but most people call it Pennsylvania. Kettle Falls, Washington. I'm late. I'll watch the replay. Well, thank you, Ham 37. More I got. Shot at in the Ozarks when I was adding a generator on a cell tower. Oh, Lord. I used to get shot at a lot back when I was playing Bigfoot jokes, pranks on campers in Sand Mountain area. Everybody used to take a nug with them when we went camping. All right, guys. Let's call it a night. It is almost 4 o'clock my time. And I'm sure we got a late start here. We've been going 92 minutes. We get too long, the coffee crowd won't want to watch. Yeah, old AU. Is that Queensland there, Scooby Snacks? Very cool. The wolf population in northern Wisconsin is down. That's interesting. Central Pennsylvania. All right, there. Just a gun guy. About a 30-minute drive from Tulsa. That's pretty close, John. Pretty close. I'll probably be passing through there some more. Hey, Tiffany. Sorry you missed it. We're about to go. All right. Hey, Justin Nader. Okay. It's crunch time for testing. And Area 51, they have to finish before the rains. Oh. Stealth coatings hate winter. Greg, is some of your family still in my state of Texas? Yes. I got a daughter, a son-in-law, and 2 beautiful grandkids there. Just north of Houston. Michelle, thank you so much. Mods are awesome. Well, thank you, Michelle. Michelle's always a really good, consistent super chatter. I really appreciate you there, Michelle. Appreciate all the support you give us. Prime Minister of Israel making huge threat to enemy. Uh-oh. Well, this whole thing may have been precipitated in Israel by the fact that Israel just gave a go-ahead, the approval on their end for Saudi Arabia to go nuclear. Saudi Arabia and Israel are allying. They're in the process of building an alliance. They're about to make peace between each other because they consider Iran to be a huge common enemy. So that was huge news earlier before this kicked off in the Gaza Strip. And so they got a lot of rockets fired at them. The Gaza Strip. Prepper Chick, how's everyone? Well, we're about to go, Prepper Chick. Greg, I read the status of the wolf population years ago. Wisconsin had a big hunt for them. Yeah, that's not. Oh, you're north of Houston? Well, that girl, my family's in Spring, Texas. Spring, Texas. Prepper Chick, Texas. There you go, Fort Worth. That girl, how close are you to Spring, Texas? You haven't told me that already. I think maybe you are in Spring. I got to drop in there one day soon and see the grand youngins. We're going back and forth. Keene, Texas. Okay. What's up with the peace treaty? Well, Iran and, excuse me, Saudi Arabia and Israel are working together. They're on their own. And they're building an alliance between each other. You missed it. Well, you can rewind and watch it. Decades ago, 12 dogs were something from packs of wolves. In 2 weeks' time, I don't doubt that. Well, USA get involved to defend Israel, probably if they get in war with Iran, most likely. Most likely. That's a problem. We are on the verge of having a war in North Korea, with Iran, this Kosovo thing. Yeah, we might get involved in Ukraine, Philippines, Taiwan. We're stretched. I'm not tell you stretched very thin. Our supplies are you're really close, huh? Okay. That's good. I have a cousin named Rodney Moulton. Oh, so you got a cousin with the same name as somebody in the house there? Yeah, all right. I see Rodney's giving the clap signs, clapping. My beautiful oldest granddaughter in prison. Oh no, in Gatesville. You mean Huntsville, Texas? That's the big prison town in Texas, Huntsville, Texas. Nothing like Huntsville, Alabama. Anywho, guys, thank you, super chatters. Appreciate it. And Shell is always, she's a very consistent, big time supporter of the channel. I really appreciate her. I appreciate all you mods. I appreciate everyone for just coming here and being here tonight. Appreciate y'all for coming here and being here. Guys, the platform really stomps down on my channel pretty hard. A lot of people don't get notifications. You can help me out by sharing my videos. All you got to do is hit the share button, send it to a friend. You got social media, put it on social media. You can copy the link and email it to friends. Send my videos out. Find videos that you think that are important for people to watch and share them. I've got a lot of content about stuff I'll never try all this with Trump. You're right. Appreciate that, Eric. Eric's always been a big supporter coming in here. Comments on every video I post. Every video, Eric comes in and gives a comment too. Yeah, that's nothing. Make comments on videos. That helps. Like dominoes. Yeah. Come in here and comment on my videos. Throw in the thumbs up. Now we've only got 175 thumbs up. Now we got 191 in the room. So y'all can really help me out. Give me some thumbs up. Now, you sleep well, Greg. I only slept 3 hours last night, and I've been up all night just about trying to bring you this stuff. I work hard to bring the content here, guys, and I'm not trying to take sides. A lot of people get mad because they'll think I'm on one side of something or another side. I'm trying not to do that, guys. I'm just trying to bring you what's going down. A lot of people misinterpret that. So if somebody's got a bone to pick with me, because a lot of people unsubscribed in the last few, and I got a whole bunch of subscribers in the last few days, mainly out of the Survival Living channel. I appreciate that. Shout out to Survival Living. But Bowen, who said, I didn't say Bowen, did I? Boing, boing. That's what I call them. Boing, boing, boing. Bowen's like the Borg. They've absorbed so many different companies. They're like the Borg in aerospace. I never worked directly for Bowen, but I was a sub one time underneath on a contract. But I've never worked directly for them. It's about the only company, big company I hadn't worked for around here. I could use some Domino's munchies. Oh, like pizza. There you go, Catherine. All righty, folks. We got to go. Hey, thank you all for watching. Just remember, keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. And, we got a lot of problems. There's a lot doing prepping, just one step at a time, guys. Just do things one step at a time. If you keep stepping, you'll get there. It's like, how do you walk a mile? We don't walk it all at once. It starts with the first step. If you keep putting one foot in front of the other, you'll get there. It's the same way with a lot of this prepping objectives. Set your objectives and go for it, guys. But the biggest thing, the biggest problem in our world today is just too much hatred in it. And if you disagree with somebody, you don't have to do it with hate and malice. If somebody disagrees with you, talk with them. Don't just go full tilt hatred. That's what's wrong with the world today. There's too much hatred. So, like I like to tell you all so often, there's good people in every part of the world, every city, every shire, every county, every country, every race, color, grade, creed, religion, whatever you want to call it. There's good people. So, give them a chance. Sometimes good people, including our people here and ourselves, we might get a little diluted because our worldview might be a little off. But sometimes a good way to adjust that is by having good discussions. But to have to start with a good heart. So what I like to say is this: as light, so my stage light's back here on the wall behind me, putting all that light out. As light dispels darkness, love dispels hate. Go out and shine your love light in the world. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And with that, I'm going to say good night.